So the YouTube channel Watcher got into hot water recently when they announced plans to move their business entirely off the platform and onto an exclusive streaming service. Fans were upset about suddenly having everything behind a paywall, and the Watcher boys quickly had to walk it all back. A lot of people said they were trying to copy the Dropout model, and if that is the case, Watcher really missed the mark big time. The Dropout model is more than just launching your own platform to upload your content to, and that's what we're going to go over today. Let's do this. Okay, Internet, before we get into what the Dropout model is, I think we need to go back to the beginning. No, not that far. I want to go over the company's origins as College Humor. College Humor was founded as a website in the year of our Lord, 1999. Like a lot of early internet comedy brands, one of the most notable being Smosh, College Humor was never intended to be a business. It was a platform that founders Ricky Van Veen and Josh Abramson used to share the funny pictures and other stuff going around on their respective campuses. That's right, we're talking memes again, y'all. Something like this really is a product of its time. We don't really get this kind of stuff anymore. Nobody would make their own site for this kind of stuff because of how much social media has filled that void. Making a website really only matters if you are needing one for your own business, not for personal fun. I forgot to put my rings on. As the site's popularity grew, they added more personnel. First adding other college students, then setting up a proper office in New York. In 2006, they got that sweet acquisition money, building out the brand and making what is probably the single most important hire when they brought on Director of Original Content, Sam Reich.
I've been here the whole time.
You sure about that?
This is when the YouTube channel started up, with their oldest video still public on the channel, having been released in October of that year. As far as I'm concerned, this is really how CH Media really started to define their voice. The voice that would grow into what Dropout is now, but we're still a few steps away from that. Something I find interesting is, while Sam and Josh Rubin are the only early cast members who are still connected to the brand, the others have gone on to make real careers for themselves in mainstream entertainment. Something you don't really think about when it comes to online personalities. Jake and Amir stayed in the online bubble. They spun their podcast into HeadGum, a big name in the podcast industry, and other cast members have gone on to write for shows like John Oliver, Samantha Bee, and Saturday Night Live. Sarah Schneider, after successfully writing for SNL, where she worked her way up to head writer, co-created The Other Two, a sitcom with a strong fan base that ran for 3 seasons and got to go out successfully on their own terms. And it's something that I will watch one day because I hear it's really good and it's on my list. I swear the list just doesn't end. Okay, I think we can finally talk about Dropout. When launched in 2018, Dropout was not meant to replace the YouTube channel, but supplement it. We all know by now that YouTube is a fickle platform to say the least. Dropout was a place that could put out products that weren't algorithmically friendly and didn't have to worry about content or language demonetizing the video. And this is by no way a unique business model. Nebula, a streaming platform built by a collaboration of YouTubers, launched a year after Dropout, and so many creators use Patreon and sometimes even YouTube channel members to make and release the stuff they can't otherwise profit off of on a traditional streaming platform. But for the most part, these aren't meant to be creators' exclusive platforms. I know that Jenny Nicholson is an example of someone who has pivoted essentially completely to Patreon. I can't remember the last time she put out a public video, but that's a hedge case, not the norm. To keep using Dropout as our example, it wasn't meant to be the new home for College Humor sketches. Those sketches were both independent products to be made, as well as ways to advertise Dropout without just making full-on ads. Now, with CH Media's full focus on Dropout, they're not exclusively there. And the only reason that they focus so much on Dropout exclusively is because that's all that Sam could afford to do when he bought the company off of their parent company because he didn't want it to be shut down entirely. So while they may no longer be doing the YouTube sketches like before, a big part of their business model is built on other platforms, using short form content like TikTok or Reels to bring in new viewers. I think Scott Nicewander of NerdSync said it best in a short video he made, so I'm gonna put that here.
They have a live stream. The Watcher guys have a live stream that they do for their patrons. And like the day or so before this video, the first video dropped of them saying they're leaving YouTube, they never mentioned it at all to their patrons. It was never a thing that they were talking about. They weren't like, get ready, something exciting is gonna happen. They were totally shut up. And those are the people who are already giving you money. There are a lot of reasons why Dropout worked and why I believe it will continue to work. And one of them is how they just respect their fans. I feel like it's so small. It's so small.
See? He put it pretty well. Now, I don't have a major following or an exclusive platform or any of that, so take what I'm about to say with a grain of salt, but I am very online. And I think all of us who are very online in these kinds of circles have our own takes on the right way to launch an independent platform, and I'm going to share mine here. Shit, this is actually kind of like one of my rewrite videos now. I should change camera to match the format. Yeah. This is a video about observing the difficulties of running an online media company from the outside, and this isn't about dunking on Watcher, but they were the catalyst for all the conversations around this, so I will be using them as an example. Let's begin by looking at their most popular show, Ghost Files. I think that if they made a behind-the-scenes series to accompany that show, it would be great. Now, I don't know what goes into the production of that series, but I'm sure there's a lot of interesting stuff going on that would make it a good watch. Either each episode gets its own behind-the-scenes feature, or each of these behind-the-scenes episodes highlights an aspect of production. This would shine a light on their team as well as everything that's going on in general. I think that would be really cool, especially with their goals to go overseas for future episodes. Documenting that would be interesting. Even a smaller show like Top 5 Beatdown can do something like this, not so much as behind the scenes material, but something like an exclusive interview with their guests. I mean, you've got them in the studio, you might as well, right? But that's just supplemental materials. Let's talk about new shows. Before all of this mess, it was announced that Stephen Lim's Worth It collaborators would be joining Watcher for a new food show that they announced being called Travel Season, and I think this makes sense as an exclusive. And sure, you could argue against that, being that food videos are big on YouTube right now, and it would do well there, but reuniting these three for new content would be a big draw to their platform. They could even do something like release it as a monthly show instead of week to week, so that way you have guaranteed content for long periods of time and something to have them stay subscribed for. These exclusive projects that I pitched, they would be treated like the original plan was for their content as a whole, putting the first episode out on YouTube to show their fans what is available on their platform, and then the rest of the season being their exclusive content. I think this would be a great buy-in for fans for their new exclusive service. Though these are just my ideas, and you might think that different exclusive shows would work better, so let me know what you would do in the comments below. No matter what, I think this would be a more solid move for them, or other similar companies wanting to make the shift. Then, as your private platform grows over time, you can add more and more exclusive shows, eventually making that the main focus. That said, none of this matters if you don't present it well. It should be sold as a way to support your parasocial pals, so that way they can continue to make big, better things for you, not just the natural next step, and definitely not sold as a reasonable $6 to your mostly young fan base. I could go off on this, but it's not the point of this video, and plenty of commentary has been made on it already. One last thing I want to mention about Dropout is how they let themselves grow and find themselves. While the brand identity now is their improv game shows and Dimension 20, that's not where they were from the jump. While D20 and Actually have been there this entire time, they also made narrative projects like Kingpin Katie and Ultra Mechatron Team Go that feel like more ambitious versions of College Humor sketches. And from what I understand, that was the original draw. The business model was, we'll bring them in with the big scripted projects and we'll keep them around with the unscripted stuff in between. And they also made stuff that was unlike what we're used to, like Total Forgiveness and Gods of Food, which are really interesting projects that they never really could have done on YouTube, at least not in the ways that they were able to exclusively. That's probably the biggest lesson to learn from Dropout and the history of College Humor as a whole. It's to find ways to take chances and grow creatively, and to figure out how to do so without burning down what's been done before. They wouldn't have gotten to this era of Dropout by just moving there from YouTube. I honestly think there's no way that they could have survived doing something like that. And every step they've made has been gradual, feeling more like the growth of a brand than the change of it. And the last thing that we can all learn from the Dropout model is to make Dimension 20. Seriously, that show really helped carry them through their lowest points. But that's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Please like and subscribe so I can build this channel big enough so that I can one day abandon it. And until next time, have a good one.